All right. I hope it's recording now because we still got a lot more work to get through. All right, well, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the World According to Mark. We've been discussing some really cool topics. And in the previous slides, we talked about building a balance sheet, establishing a checking account, building an income statement, establishing credit, how to fix up your credit. The next couple of slides, actually, we're going to talk to my good friends, the college students. And I'm going to tell you a couple of cool things, I hope. And we'll go from there. Let's go ahead and throw up the slide. Saving for college, grants, loans, and scholarships. Grants, contact your university. Most have a book with a bazillion scholarships and grants. Grants, if you are in Texas, you need to know about the Pell Grant, the Texas Education Grant, and the Texas Supplemental Education Grant. Also for paying for college, if you are military, then you need to know about the Montgomery GI Bill, the Navy College Fund, the Hazelwood Act, and also if any of your military experience transfers to the university for college credit, you can also place out of some of the courses. You need to contact the Veterans Office. Also, you can look at the talk to a financial aid counselor, academic counselor, and also the transfer office has a list of courses that are transfer over. And also for the military, you get a military evaluation form, turn it into the university. They actually evaluate and give you credit on certain courses, which actually do help. I didn't think they did at first, but it helped out a lot because when I transferred my credits over, I had they counted primarily as electives, but it made sure that I had enough credit hours in order to graduate from college. It's more to the story than that, but understand that the military credits transferring over do count. Paying for college, if you can avoid it, then do not take out any student loans. If your options are work a full-time job and take out a student loan in order to pay for college, take out the student loan. Education is one of your largest investments. Just make sure you are studying an actual trade that can make you some money to pay back the student loan, such as accounting. I'm going to say accounting, of course, because I did the accounting route, but it can be really any trade. Don't take, I'm going to tell you, the arts, I love the arts, but anybody can enter the arts. You don't have to have talent to be considered an artist. I ain't saying I'm untalented. I'm just saying that it's not a requirement, which means that unless you're going into a specialized area of the arts, whether you're going to play piano, which is a trade as far as I'm concerned. If you're just going, I'm going to be an actor or an actress, that's a tough field to make money in. Most of the people in the arts in that level, meaning actors, actresses, or whatever, it's hard for them to make a living. Not saying that it can't be done. Not saying that you won't be the next Halle Berry or Tom Cruise. I'm just saying that that's a difficult lifestyle. And I recommend make sure you pick up an actual trade, whether you're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, accountant, whatever, something where you can make money. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for you to take out a student loan. If you're going to study pottery, unless you're going to make a lot of money making pottery, I would say don't take out a student loan. So that's my soapbox for a second there. All right, next, paying for college. Always declare a major so you can be eligible for the scholarships offered by that college. Also, contact the scholarship office, the dean's office for your major, family, friends, your church, and any student organizations that you participate in order to determine if they have any scholarships available. Also, for paying for college, you need to visit the FAFSA website. Complete this item and make sure you look into if your school has a work-study program. You know, working your way through college is what it is. Not a big deal. I did a combination of all three. I had grants, student loans, scholarships, and actually I did 4 or 5 things. Initially, I started off military, so they helped pay for the first couple of years. Sorry about that. Knocking this stuff off the podium. But anyway, the point of the story is, if you don't have to take out a student loan, don't. You know, don't take it out and then blow the money buying cars and partying. Use the student loan for what it's for. If you need it in order to get your education, do that. If you don't need it, don't do it, all right? Not that it's a horrible thing, because it's better than credit cards. So if you have to do it, take out the student loan, don't take out the credit cards, because it's at a lower interest rate, but that's a whole different topic. But the point of the story, do what you got to do. All right, cool. We're on page 11, so we're not too far from the promised land. I'm still talking to the college students. Now that you figured out a way to pay for college, how do you survive in college? Let's go ahead and throw up that slide. Surviving in college or surviving college? How do I eat, pass my classes, and party? As for how do I eat, step 1, make sure that you have joined your university's meal plan. That should have been done when you filled out the financial aid stuff. Step 2, attend the various student organization meetings. They usually have food. Only attend those where you have a genuine interest. Step 3, ask your friends who are on meal plans, meaning who are the people who are actually on meal plans. Sometimes they have money left over at the end of the year or end of the semester, and they need help eating up the rest of their money. Step 4, have groceries and healthy snack foods in your dorms. Step 5, when in doubt, call some local family and friends and go to their house. So if you're away for college and you don't have any family and friends there, then make friends with your dorm mate or somebody who's local and go eat there. How to pass your classes. Step 1, sit in the front of the class. You need to be an active participant in the learning process, and you ain't going to get that done sitting in the back. Step 2, make sure that you do your homework. I know that's a cliche, but remember your purpose there is to get an education. Step 3, purchase the school catalog and get a copy of your degree plan and plan your classes from freshman year through graduation. Do not be dependent on the counselors. The logic behind that is, this is something I learned from the military. Freshman year, the lieutenant made us plan out our career, our college career, from our freshman classes, looking at all of the prereqs, all the way through graduation. Best advice I've ever received, well, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received. Primarily because you should know what you're taking your junior year, fall semester. If I say what class you got that fall semester, you should know. You don't have to know that you're taking it Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 5. You just need to know what the class is. And that way, when it's time to file your degree plan, you already know, hey, these are the classes I need to graduate. This is when I'm taking them. So don't be so dependent on the counselors. Read the book for yourself. The information is there. And not only that, you can see where you can double up, oh, hey, this class here can count for humanities and art or something. Or not humanities and art, but you know what I mean. Humanities and some other course. So look into that. All right, where am I? Oh, the one that you all want to know, how to party. With no car, you can visit your student program board and campus activities department. You can also partner with a friend who has a car. With the car, check your city's local guide, such as HoustonPress.com or any of your local newspapers. Also, talk to your friends on campus. But remember that the purpose in being in college is to get an education. At the same time, you should have some fun and release some stress as well, because it's hard to stay focused on college education if you're all stressed out. So that one there for how do you party. Your university typically has a programming board or a campus activities department. That's where all of the Greek organizations are, black, white, green, and other. That's where all of the information about what concerts are coming to campus, when it's homecoming, How can you get involved with those committees, the online, the online television station? All of that stuff is likely going to be at your campus activities department, wherever you are. Your Black student unions, Council of Ethnic Organizations, Asian student organization. I mean, that's where all of that information is. All right, so I know my eyes are starting to drop. It's about 4-something in the morning, and I'm getting sleepy, but I'm determined to get you guys through this. So chill, and I'll be back in a second. Peace. Hello, everyone. I'm back. It's still 4-something in the morning. But your next topic, or the next slide that we're going to talk about, is saving strategy and the new definition of being broke. Or what's the new definition of broke? And this is really an idea that I would like to share with you, and I hope you decide to do with it whatever you want to do with it. So let's go ahead and throw up that slide. Most people define broke as $0 in the bank. Here's a new definition of broke. It is the less of any current money threshold and your emergency fund. For example, if your current money threshold is $1,000, then you are broke if you have $700 in the bank. If your emergency fund is $12,000, then you are broke based on the emergency fund standard. This assumes that your life expenses are $2,000 per month, and it would take you 6 months before you could land another job at equal or better salary. All right, let me put that in terms. I wrote it that way because that's the only way I knew how to explain it. But here's the only thing that it's saying. Family member walks up to you. Yo, Mark, let me hold $50. I say, yo, I'm broke. But he's like, dude, you got $700 in the bank. I know, because I saw your bank statement sitting on the counter. I said, dude, anything less than $1,000 means I'm broke. I need at least $1,000 in the bank. So in order to loan you $50, I need how much? I need $1,050. I mean, I loan you that $50, I'll be broke all over again at $1,000 sitting in the bank. But, I loaned you out $50. I had it then. But anything less than $1,000, I'm broke. So I hope that made sense to you. The emergency fund component, what that's saying is this. Let's say you spend $2,000 a month. That's your rent, your groceries, your books, credit card debt, all of that stuff. $2,000 a month. 2,000 times 6 months is what? $12,000. All right? That's the amount of money that you need in your emergency savings plan. So let's say somebody walks up to you, and of course this is based on if you lose your job and it takes 6 months to get a new job, you'd be able to pay your bills until you find a new gig at the same pay rate or higher. Somebody walks up to you, yo, Mark, I need to borrow $3,000 because I need a down payment on this hot new car I want. And I know you got it because you got $9,000 in the bank. So let me hold 3 of it. What you tell that person? You tell them, yo, I'm broke. Because I need at least $12,000 in the bank just in case I lost my job. Now, how much money do I really need if I want to loan this cat $3,000? I need at least $15,000 because $12,000 is my emergency fund. The 3 above that is any excess that I could probably loan out, and it wouldn't hurt me if things didn't go my way for the next couple of months. Sorry about that. Let me scratch my nose. So I hope that made sense to you. So that's the logic between those two. And on that note, sit back and relax, and we'll get ready to talk some more stuff. I chew. Peace. I chew. Hello, everyone. I'm back. I hope you're, like I said, sitting back, relaxing, got your pen and papers out, and you're taking notes feverishly, and you're paying attention to all the good information that I'm sharing with you. Like I said, my hopes is that this moves you to another level. Welcome back to the world according to Mark. Now, looking at networking, a friend of mine, or really a person I met when I was out doing some contracting work. I do accounting contract work. I think I told you guys that. Anyway, she asked me, she said, Mark, what do you think about networking? And I came up with this list of pointers to consider when networking. So let's go ahead and throw up that slide. Here are my 10 tips for networking, or networking tips as of 3606. You should know that no one and or no thing is more important than God. You should recognize kindness as a strength, and adding more love and happiness to any environment is important. Definitely my bias, I believe kindness is a strength. Networking is about building relationships. Focus on building rapport by asking about family and hobbies. No one wants to talk about work all the time. You should try to remember birthdays. I use a contact manager. Many of them nowadays synchronize from the Microsoft Outlook if you use Outlook. The next thing is you should always recognize that your self-esteem is never up for sale. This should alleviate any concerns about being a butt kisser. This is mostly talking about if you're trying to network with higher ups, so don't feel like you're kissing butt if you trying to have a genuine conversation with these people. You should analyze your talents, skills, and the talents and skills of those within your network to evaluate if you are able to add value to a new network or if the person can benefit from your networks. Note, do the getting to know you thing. You may find later that you are able to help that person or they are able to help you. Now, the logic behind that is I wasn't really networking. I was just hanging out with a friend of mine, and he's like, we were just out there kicking it. No big deal, just kicking it. And a friend of his and some of his coworkers were out there, and we always got to talking, doing the getting to know you thing or whatever. And this cat, he's like, yo, I'm interested. I do some little music on the side. I was like, wow, I do some music too. He's like, but yeah, I've been away from it a while, and I was thinking about getting into it because, this whole technology thing, everybody has their, studio thing. I was like, well, wow, I actually have a studio at the house. So I could tell you what type of equipment you need to look for if you decide that that's something that you're interested in. So that's my way of saying that, hey, that was a networking opportunity, and I sent him the information and yada, yada, yada. So let's get back to the slide. Be selective on those with whom you choose to exchange contact information. Focus on building the relationship, then exchange contact information. A bunch of business cards is just that, a bunch of business cards. Next thing, be active with your company or audit team, because in this case we was talking about audit, but make sure you strike that balance between what is best for the team and what is best for you. Example, lunch every day with the team versus lunch 2 to 3 days with the team and bringing your lunch on the other days. Note, lunch with any company is a big deal. People like to break bread. So get that out of your head that you're going to go work at a company, stay to yourself, and not break bread with anyone. And not only that, be careful who you associate with, because people associate bad habits as well as good habits with the company that you keep. So keep that in mind. Let's go back to the slide. Understand your goal or overall purpose for networking, e.g. 1, to build short or long-term relationships for career opportunities or growth. 2, to build relationships, meaning non-working related. Or 3, to build opportunity networks, e.g. I need a discount on some clothing at Banana Republic, or in my opinion, it is better to build legitimate networks with solid foundations, e.g. bonds, based on genuine interest in an actual like for the person. Although we understand that it is rare that you get something for nothing, that should not always be your goal or ulterior motive. And last but not least, be yourself. Trust yourself, enjoy people, help people, actually, you know what I mean. Actually follow up and call people if you say you're going to call them. And everything else should be okay. So the logic behind that, of course, is just like it sounds. This is what I told the person who asked me about this. Nobody wants to network with a crappy person. So that's my way of saying, don't be a crappy person. Be a good person. Take genuine interest in people. Help those you can help. Meaning that if you have the background or the network to support whatever it is that person could probably benefit from, help that person out. That's what you should do. That's the right thing to do. So on that note, I'm going to chunk you to deuce, and then we're going to go on to the next slide. Peace. Hello, everyone. I'm back. The next two slides I'm actually talk about together, and those two slides are buying a home. And both of them read essentially the same, so I'm just going to throw up buying a home slide first. And it says there are more than enough calculators and programs to tell you how to calculate the mortgage, payments, how much home you can afford, so on and so forth. Here are my recommendations. Make a wish list. Start off with what you want, work back to what you need. Number two, be as detailed as possible with what you want. Everything from location to square footage to the size of your backyard, to cabinets, to carpet. Number three, remember that you are buying the location. And number four, everything is negotiable. Number five, do your research. And here's the big thing. Your goal is to pay as little for the house and get as much quality, maximizing the amount of money that you keep, and an interest rate as close to zero as possible. Now, I wrote that this way, and both of those, like I said, buying a home or buying a car, they both read essentially the same. I wrote it that way for a reason. Here's the thing. Start off with the wish list. If you always wanted a BMW, doesn't make sense for you to look at a Mercedes. Not in that sense. It makes sense for you to look at the Mercedes if you're comparing quality. But guess what? At the end of the day, you won't be happy unless you got the BMW. So that's something for you to think about. But you still want to do your research. Look at the BMW, look at the Mercedes, look at the Volvo, look at the Mazdas. You want to look at, interior, quality, performance ratings, consumer reports. You want to look at the whole nine. And from there, you want to decide what is the best value. So when you go in to walk into a dealership and say, hey, I want to buy this car. And he says, oh, well, that car is $40,000. You say, well, can it come down from there? And he says, no. And your research shows that the car goes for $38,000 or $39,000. Then you already know it's not much wiggle room in that car anyway because it holds its value pretty well. And so, but if they are willing to strike a deal with you, that's what you want, then go for it. Now, here's the thing. People always ask me, so what kind of interest rate are you looking for? As close to zero as possible. Because remember, when you have good credit, you can get an interest rate at zero or pretty much close to zero. And the logic behind that is this. You have a history of showing that you're good for it. If you have a history of showing that you're good for it, they make their money off the long-term commitment. Or the finance charges, if you're not good for it, because that's where the 20 and 25% interest, or dealing with car loans, mostly 10 to 15%, that's where the bad credit people usually exist. So that's my way of saying that's what you need to look for. Now, let me backtrack, because I started talking about a car before talking about the home. And as for how do I add value on this particular topic to you? When we're talking about buying a home, I'm not going to give you the long, drawn-out story, but I'm going to give you a couple of recommendations. Number one, if you can wait until you see what the house looks like before you buy it, because the first house I was trying to buy, it had a lot less square footage. I mean, it was a small house, just know that. But I bought the house based on looking at the prints versus seeing an actual visual or model of what the home would finally look like. And so the house was a lot smaller than I would have liked. And so that's number one. Number two, know what you want. Like for me, location was important, and being near a major freeway became very important. So that's something that you need to look for. Upgraded carpet. And remember, just because they say it's upgraded carpet doesn't necessarily mean it's upgraded carpet. So make sure you walk around with no shoes on to see if that carpet is soft enough for you. Like for me, I'm happy with my home. I ain't tripping. However, my carpet ain't thick enough. My feet hurt, but I might just have sensitive feet. But anyway, that's another topic. The point of the story is this. When you're looking at buying a home, know what you want. If you don't know what you want, get some friends and try to figure out what you want. Some of the things you could do is measure where you live now to make sure that whatever your new place is has the minimum square footage of the size of your bedroom. That's a key thing. Let me just run through a couple of big things that always stand out. Upgrade your carpet. Upgrade your cabinets. If you can, get the glass cabinet in the center. I thought those were really nice. Make sure you budget that most companies, especially if you're buying a new home, most companies have you buy your own door. They give you just a regular old door. So you want to buy that wooden door with the glass in the middle type deal. Gutters are usually not included. Make sure you buy some gutters. What's that thing called? Blinders. Make sure you get you some high quality blinders. I'm so happy I included that in the purchase price because it made life easier for moving in because all my windows are already covered. So those are the things that they don't tell you about. On the financing side, make sure that make sure you budget for all of the different connection fees. The water people want a connection fee. The electrical people want a connection fee. Who else wants a connection fee? The gas company. Somebody has to physically be here for them to do the gas thing. Telephone depends on the telephone company. So those are the big things. Other things associated with financing, everything's negotiable. Because originally they told me I was going to have to pay the origination fee, which is typically 1% of the purchase price of the home. And then I was like, isn't that negotiable? Do I have to pay that? Well, initially the lady told me yes, and then later on she took it off and they just made sure I got the financing for the home. So ask those questions, the recording fee, the survey fee, all of that stuff, everything on that dang on document is negotiable is what I learned. So that's what I would like to share with you. This is information that you're not going to get from the calculators. Make sure you try to get your good faith estimate as soon as possible. And so those are the big things. So that's home and car. And I hope that was enough information to get you started. If you got any questions on that, you can contact the Public Access Channel, and I can tell you about my experience in buying my home. And I'm very happy with my home and the buying experience. I did it all myself, and I can't complain, so I'll throw you the deuce. Peace. Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the presentation. And our next topic that we're going to talk about is saving for retirement. So let's go ahead and throw that one up. Saving for retirement, 401k, IRA, Roth IRA. For the most part, it all depends on where you are in life. Many believe that there will be no Social Security for us poor people when we retire. So your best strategy against being dependent on Social Security is to make your money developing your professional service skills, starting and growing businesses, and passive investments such as stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. If you are at a reasonably stable job, then you should probably max out the 401k and do the individual retirement account. And I would say stay away from the Roth. I think it's a scam. So for those of you who don't know much about the Roth IRA, the logic is you pay the taxes on it now, you get the Roth IRA, then when you retire, unfortunately, I should say, you're in a lower tax bracket, then you'll pay the taxes you'll get the money tax free. Wait. I'm sorry, I think I said that backwards. The Roth IRA, I'm sorry. The Roth IRA, you pay the taxes up front, and then when you retire, you get the money tax free. The regular or traditional IRA, you contribute now, get the tax benefit now. Then when you retire, you'll be at a lower tax bracket, and then you'll get your tax benefit then. Well, the reason why I'm saying the Roth IRA, I think it's a scam, is primarily because you know how our government is. You think they really going to let you withdraw your money tax free? Think about that. I'm going to let you think. You can go talk to all of your financial advisors. You can go talk to your government officials. Personally, I don't care. I'm just trying to let you know I think it's a scam. That's just me. You do what you want to. It's your money. Now, let's move forward a little bit. Instead of being dependent on Social Security, the best strategy has to be, just like it's written, number one, develop professional service skills. You know, in many respects, many argue or make the statement that we're beyond the Industrial Revolution, where the United States is manufacturing stuff. Professional service skills are the place to be. You better learn how to sell something. You better learn how to be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. You better learn how to do something that's related to people and helping people or serving people or doing something with people, because that's where the money is. So the next thing, starting and growing businesses. Hey, start a business, whether it's a product or service. Because of Enron, there's been like 12 billion professional service recruiting firms have popped up, specifically for accounting and finance professionals, but still, there's so many of them, it's crazy. Passive investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Of course, the other one I left out is real estate. Buy you a piece of property, put your tenant in there, good paying tenant, let them pay for your mortgage and yada, yada, yada. So that's my way of saying the decisions that you make now are the ones that impact what happens to you tomorrow. So if you hang out trying to kick it, waiting for Social Security, you're going to wake up to a rude awakening when you realize that Social Security will not help you maintain or even put a dent in your lifestyle, meaning as in a positive way to help you keep whatever it is you're doing once you reach that more mature age. So I want you to keep that in mind, and we're going to go ahead and move on. Peace. I know y'all love when I lean my head in. But anyway, just wanted to keep on moving. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from your break. I hope you took a restroom break. I know this program is pretty long. But let's go ahead and talk about, and long is good because I'm hoping that I'm being very informative. So let's go ahead and pick up the next slide, which is paying bills on time. So if you remember in the previous slides, I talked about credit repair. And in credit repair, one of the biggest things you could do is start paying your bills on time. And I know you're saying, well, Mark, that's pretty much a pointless statement if you don't tell me how to get organized so I can pay my bills on time. Well, that's what the purpose of this form here. This is called a bill adjustment form. And I'm going to go ahead and put up the slide now. And I gave an example of a number of different bills. These are all my personal bills primarily. But what you need to include is what is the name of the bill, meaning in this case, Dell Computer. What is the website? This is the place where you have your login account, where you go in to pay your bill. What is the priority? You know, a priority in this case is talking about who needs to be paid off first. Ideally, you want to pay off your higher interest cards, but you know, we could talk different strategies on that one later on how to reduce debt. But right now, the whole concept is how to get the money organized so you can make sure you're paying these people on time. So you need to know what priority they are. You need to write down the username. Memorize the password. Don't write down the password in case this document gets lost. You need to write down what is the credit limit. In this case, it's $1,500 for Dell. What is your available credit? $100. What does the total balance do? Because you want to always know what is that impact. How much debt do you have out there? You know, so in this case, I think it's $1,400. What is the current payment that's due? $35. And when is that due date? Now, if you take all of that information and put it on this document for all of your bills, and as you can see, there is a section for recurring bills, and just follow that format. It's the same thing. When is it due? What is the total amount due? In this case, the total balance due and the payment due should always be the same. Unless, like mine, I do an extended payment plan for my automobile insurance. So those tend to be different. But in most cases, they should be the same. But the point of the story is you put all of this information together, and then if you look at the bottom, it has what's in your bank account, your primary bank accounts, where you pay your bills from. You write that down on the bottom. And that way you can already get your mind around the concept of how am I going to pay for all of this stuff. So keep that in mind, and I'll talk to you in a second. Peace. Hello, I know you're probably still laughing at that last exit on the last video or the last lecture screen. That's only because it's, like I said, it's like 4:30 something in the morning. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I've been talking for almost 3 hours now, and but this information is really that important, so I'm trying to get it to you in the best way that I know how. What we're going to do is we're going to move from paying bills, because I think you got a grasp on how you need to organize it. That's just an Excel spreadsheet, so it's nothing for you to be overly alarmed about. If you don't know how to use Excel, go to the library, or there are many companies where you can buy software and they'll teach you how to use Excel. So go ahead and get on that. Now we're going to switch over a little bit. I meet a lot of people who are always saying, yo, I want to start a business, I want to start a business. Well, I do music, so that's what I do. So we're going to talk about music. But the concepts associated with starting a music business is the exact same for many businesses. Now, there's a couple of things that are not on here, but I want to talk about them first, because usually when a person comes to me and says, yo, I want to start a business, nowadays I do go ahead and ask that question, who's on your team? You should always have an accountant, a lawyer, or whatever person for your particular industry. Those key people need to be on your team. Who's on your management staff? Who's your management team? And not necessarily an expert, but you need to know, as part of that management team, the accountant, the lawyer. I know they're part of your executive or board of directors to a large degree, or service or contractors, whatever you want to call it. But as part of your immediate management team, a salesperson. You know, who's the expert when we say, hey, what's the best way to package this product or to package this service? What's going to be our pricing strategy? How do we determine how many weeks we're going to advertise? What's the size of the ads? Are we going to do internet marketing? What about a newsletter? What's going to be our marketing campaign, our strategy? You know, if you're a not-for-profit, what's going to be our fundraising campaign? These are the people that need to be on your team if you're trying to be successful. Otherwise, you'll be like me, a one-man show. And it's completely insane to be a one-man show. There's a quote that I used back in the day that says, no man is an island, but man, don't I try. So that's my way of saying that we all, including myself, can do a better job at building our teams, because the efforts of many is what you're trying to leverage. So keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and pull up the first slide. Building a business startup, record label, the independent artist example, with discussion on internal revenue. So I'm going to make a couple of statements about that. Step 1, get a DBA, doing business as or assumed name. I'm not going to read the rest of that. I'm going to give you a second to read it. All right, cool, second's up. Only thing it's saying is county clerk's office, make sure you have a couple of different names, and get your DBA. The information for the DBA, take that letter, go to a bank, open up your bank account. That's all it's saying. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. I'm actually going to do all of these together, meaning this example. Step 2, purchase of personal financial management software. There is one that I can recommend for you, but I can't do it as part of a public access channel. I can tell you that a personal financial management software, as for what it is essentially an accounting software that allows you to manage your personal life as well as your business life. There's more than enough of them out there. You can go to the research. You can go to Office Depot. You can go to any local store, and they'll have accounting software. I think I'm trying too hard to make sure that nothing I say is commercial. But step 3, record keeping. Once again, these actually go together with the personal financial management software. Just saying, hey, you need to keep good records. Keeping good records says that if you have a profit, like we discussed in our previous topic on building an income statement, this is where it makes sense for you. You know, when you have a business, just like you're dealing with building your balance sheet for your net worth, that's your personal life. Building your income statement and building a balance sheet for your business, it's the same thing. Those are the two primary financial statements for any business. We could talk about cash flow statement and all of that type of stuff, but if you even know what a cash flow statement is, then this lecture isn't for you, because you have some familiarity with accounting, and you need to go see an accountant, and y'all need to build your business and with him as your accountant. But for you other cats, income statement, balance sheet, that's what you need to know. To give you an example of how it relates to record keeping, I bought a computer. That computer has a useful life of greater than 1 year. That's a fixed asset. That's a depreciable asset. I'm going to depreciate that over the course of its useful life. All right? That's what's going to go on my tax return. However, I bought a, I don't want to use that example. Oh, I'll use this example. I took an artist out to eat. I had an artist signed to my label. I took the artist out to eat. That's a business expense. You know, so that goes on your income statement. Now, the cool thing is this. If you go to the IRS's website, irs.gov, that's a not-for-profit, that's a government agency, download the form called a Schedule C. It essentially gives you the categories that you need to report on: advertising, utilities. Those are the categories that you need to maintain. Maintain record keeping on, good information, accounting records on. The good news is this: that information right there, if you look at a good portion of your personal financial management softwares, that's where that information is. You know, it has a thing called Schedule C in it. So as you updating it with your personal stuff, meaning, oh, I went to groceries, I paid the babysitter, I paid alimony, whatever it may be. Anytime you pay something for your business, if you put it in the appropriate category, it'll automatically put it in the Schedule C for you. So that way, when it comes tax time, you just print out that Schedule C and you go on with life. So that's what that's all about. So let's keep it moving. Oh, okay. I want to say this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this slide up now. Dealing with the Internal Revenue Service, a lot of people get very concerned about taking a business loss their first year. You know, if you keep good business records, a business loss is a business loss. You know, as long as they're ordinary and necessary for your business. So, for an example, I'm a record label or independent artist. If I go out and I buy a keyboard, if I'm trying to make music, I need a keyboard. If I go out and, let's say, buy a pound of cement, a big pound of concrete, unless that's related to art in some kind of way, like I'm going to paint something or use concrete or whatever, that concrete has absolutely nothing, at least from the IRS perspective, has absolutely nothing to do with me trying to put together a CD to sell to the public. So therefore, the concrete would not be an ordinary and necessary business expense, is what I'm getting at. So don't be too afraid to take a business loss your first year. Your goal, of course, is not to take a business loss. Short version of a long story: tax evasion, tax avoidance. As a citizen, you can avoid as much tax as you want. As a citizen, you should not evade taxes. And what that means is, you know, deflate revenues. You sold $2 million in CD sales, but you only reported $1 million. What happened to that other $1 million that you need to pay taxes on? And so that's what tax evasion is all about. But tax avoidance, if you bought a computer, you use that computer primarily for your business, and you deducting 50% or 75% or whatever the depreciable value of, If you're deducting that on your tax return, that's an ordinary and necessary business expense. So if you take a business loss, as long as you have good business records, IRS can't say jack. So keep that in the back of your mind. So let's go ahead and move on. This next slide I'm going to put up. Oh, and also on the previous slide, I told you what things I use. This next item I'm going to put up, this next slide, I actually got it from a different source, but I thought it was very good information. It's the information I've been telling people for years, but they had a couple in there that I didn't necessarily tell people about. Not that I didn't necessarily know, but that's another story. Number one, trademark your band name. I don't know, I think that's a little bit over the top, but might be good, especially if it's free. Copyright your musics. Get clearance for any other copyrights that you use. Join ASCAP or BMI. I use BMI. It's a not-for-profit, so no starter fees, and you can join online, so that's always a good thing. Get a barcode. If you're going to sell in any of your major stores, especially physical inventory, essentially there's no way around it. You got to get a barcode. SoundScan and this other one, broadcast data solutions for tracking record sales. You got to get your stuff duplicated, so on and so forth. So those are all the things that I needed to tell you about music. And like I said, dealing with starting a business, it boils down to the same things all over again. What's your vision or mission? Oh, I want to be the leading provider of technology services to all of Houston. Okay, cool. Who's on your management team? Oh, well, I know this guy, he's a business consultant. All right, well, you need to talk to that guy first before you commit him. I need financial resources. Okay, then my vision. So wait, what's my goal? Well, my goal is I want to commence operations on October 1st, 2007. Okay, cool. Okay, well, let's move on to your plan then. What's your plan? Assessing financial resources. I have about $2,000 in the bank. So that's the financial resources. Human resources, that's all about building a team all over again. Okay, marketing strategy. I'm going to market to friends, family, churches. You know, that's how I'm going to make my money. Okay, pricing strategy. I'm going to charge, roughly $125 an hour to do cable installation, computer repair, computer tune-ups. I mean, that's the process that you work through is what I'm getting at. So you would still need to get your DBA, still need to open up your bank account. I mean, it's the same process, whether you're starting a record label, starting a vending machine company, starting a franchise company. It's slightly different with franchises and products, primarily because oh, and also for CDs, you need to get you not only a barcode, but you need to get you a sales tax ID number. If you're doing a food establishment, there's certain licenses that you got to get, health codes, stuff like that, so you don't violate. I know you see my eyes are starting to get squinty and my voice is changing a little because I am starting to get sleepy. But like I said, I still believe this is important, so we're going to keep on pushing. So for now, I think that helps you get at least a good idea of how the whole business concept works. Other things like, should you be a limited liability company, a corporation, S Corp, or just be a sole proprietor? I hate saying this, but it really does depend on your industry. Good example, if you're going to be in real estate, limited liability company is a good way to go. You should set up each one of your properties individually as part of a limited liability company and protect them as such. So that way, if a tenant falls on one of your properties, they can't sue you and take all of your properties. All right? Limited liability company makes sense. Professional services. All depends on what you're doing. If you're a lawyer or a doctor, and if you're a CPA, errors and omissions insurance, malpractice insurance, you might want to take that route from an insurance perspective, but you might want to consider certain things like maybe it makes sense for me to be an S corp, or even for many of the CPAs and law firms, they have professional corporations or limited liability partnerships. So I mean, those are the types of things that you need to look at. As an independent artist, I'm not really expecting to get sued anytime soon. At least I hope not, because I do all of my work is independent. So do I really need to be a limited liability company? Probably not. As a record label, probably not. So those are the types of thought processes you want to work through. So I hope that helped you out. Peace. All right, hello, I am back, and I want to talk about a couple of things. I wanted to go ahead and talk about business startups and everything, because I thought that was the best move at the time. Because when we're talking about business startups, really bill adjustments and financial forecasting versus budgeting really should go together. But for people who are looking to start a business, both of those are actually going to go hand in hand. So let me go ahead and throw up the next two slides, actually. I'm going to start with one and continue on. Financial forecasting versus budgeting. You should determine your personality first. Are you a spender or a saver? Also, are you a self-employed, e.g., have a home-based business or an employee? If you are a spender and an employee, then you should use a spreadsheet and practice forecasting. If you are a saver and or have a home-based business, then you should practice budgeting using a personal financial management software. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the next slide. I actually have a financial forecasting spreadsheet template, but it would not fit on this slide. The important thing to note is that it is a tool that allows you to look into the future and determine any shortfalls such that you can start preparing for those expenses. All right. To talk about both of these items here is pretty much this. Budgeting. If you use a personal financial management software, it's like being your own accountant. And so the good news is a lot of the banks are very friendly now. And what I mean by that is you can download credit reports, you can download your bank statement directly into the financial management software, and then the only thing you have to do is make sure it's in the appropriate category. The softwares are very user-friendly, such that it will show you if you over budget in any particular category. The thing that I found, though, is that although these softwares are out there, many people still don't use them. Either they're not computer savvy, which you really don't have to be. The rest of the population is going to get there, so I'm not sweating that. Or it just comes to be a little bit too time-consuming to download the different credit card statements and bank statements into their financial softwares. I think long-term, people are going to need to use them. You know, if you're preparing for your future, you really, in certain aspects, don't have a choice. But here's the good news, though. I've developed a spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet is massive. I love that it's massive. But it essentially works very similar to an income statement. You have all of your expenses at the top, however. You have all of your revenue or your income at the bottom, and the difference between that is a variance, meaning it's a profit or a loss. So in the top section, because there's more operating expenses in this case than revenue sections, at the top, you're going to have your car, his car. You will have babysitting expenses. You would have your house expenses, mortgage, Time Warner Cable or any cable company. You will have utilities, water bill, gas bill, electricity, cell phone bill, children's bills. All of those will be on this spreadsheet. And then in the bottom section, you will have sources of income from wherever. Unemployment compensation, regular job or primary job, currently what's in the bank. You would have all of your liquid cash that you have currently in your bank and what you expect to come in the future. And you would take all of those and you would compare it, you know, week by week or month by month if you get paid monthly. expenses compared to revenue, the difference is your profit or loss. So if you look into the future, it's like, oh man, I'm going to be short in November. I need to find some money so I can make sure I'm in the black versus in the red. I know that was a lot of information. I know that part sounded really complicated, but it really isn't. One day, find me. I'll show you how I do what I do. But don't find me, because I ain't saying hire my services. I'm saying I want to show you how the spreadsheet works, because it's a financial forecast. If you're not going to use personal financial management software, the logic behind that is this here takes 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or however much time you want to spend with it to update it. And it doesn't really require downloading bank statements and credit card statements and all of that. But it doesn't have any historical tracking either. So if you just want a financial forecast, then it'll do that, because that's what it's designed for. So I hope that helped you out, and I'm going to chunk you to deuce. Peace. Hello. All right, check this out. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the next slide, which is dealing with computer information. Need to buy a computer. Here's some of the most important things to know. What is the purpose of the computer? The purpose of the computer determines what type of stuff you have to have in it. Do you need a fancy sound card or a regular sound card? Do you need a video card with dedicated memory or with shared memory? Get the job done. So that's what that's all about. How fast is the processor? That's a key thing. A processor, the only thing it means is that's the brains of the computer, or they call it CPU, Central Processing Unit. How fast can it calculate? How fast can it add numbers? That's all that means. The higher that number, the better. So 3.0 gigahertz or better is an awesome deal. How large is the hard drive? The larger the hard drive, the better. Meaning, when I say the larger the better, I mean the amount that you can afford. If you can afford a 120, 200 gigabyte hard drive, then that's what you need to purchase. All right, an 80 gigabyte hard drive is really the lowest I would go, because nowadays the files and technology, they're just getting massive. People are downloading more music, videos, so on and so forth. So it takes up a lot of hard drive space. So the bigger the better. How much RAM? Minimum 512 gigabytes. Most people don't really understand how RAM works. I'm going to give you the analogy that a friend of mine gave me a long time ago, and this is the way it works. What happens with RAM, or random access memory, your computer turns on, you decide you want to open up a program. When you open up that program, the computer reaches onto the hard drive, pulls that information off into RAM. It opens the file, and you can look at it, manipulate the data. When you're ready to save it, you take all of that and you throw it right back on the hard drive. That's it. So as you can imagine, the more RAM you have, the more computers you can, the more software programs you can have open. The less RAM you have, if you open up a word processing, an Excel spreadsheet, you downloading music, you're trying to run video, that's too much for your computer to handle. It's going to crash it every time. And so that's a tidbit. Just to let you know, Windows XP, that bad boy loves RAM. It uses a lot of RAM. So that's something for you to keep in the back of your mind. I would, although it says 512, and that really should say megabytes, and I'm gonna make sure that's changed on the slide. 512 megabytes of RAM is the minimum I would go, even though you can go as low as 64, which is not likely in today's market. But I would say you should look at really 1 gig to 2 gigs of RAM, and if you have a high-end computer, try to get up to 4 gigs of RAM. That's what I would recommend. You can. It's hard to go wrong. Man, I've already used this tape. It's hard to go wrong when you have that much RAM. So I hope that helps, and I'm doing it natural, baby. Whatever I'm feeling and thinking, that's what you get. So peace.